Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
And a good Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to the show. Hollywood, Jeff Petty is our producer today. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor, text 304-935-5008. We do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon, including Par-Mar's newest location, store number 236, opened up last week in Bealsville, Ohio, plus the new store in Charleston. When everybody's been asking about 306 McCorkle Avenue Southeast, will have their groundbreaking tomorrow at 11 a.m. The public is invited to attend. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill CDJR on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Time to make this the summer of Ram at the all-new Thornhill Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Visit them at the Fountain Place Model Logan or at thornhillcdjr.com. Phone calls to the show, a service of Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly on Spring Street, and texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony Vitaylor, Virginia Street in Charleston. Visit bestmastertailor.com. Loaded up show this morning. I do want to throw this out there, though, before we get to our guest this morning, and of course your phone calls and texts too. We did have a text to the show, actually came in not long ago. If you're coming into Charleston eastbound this morning, please note there, at least earlier when I came in, a major backup. Of course, I come in, around 7:30 when everybody's trying to come into Charleston. But they're doing some work out there on the interstates, and I'm talking about maybe an area from Montrose on into Charleston, and there were some major backups this morning. So that's going to be, they're doing some work out there, and it looks like it's going to be a while. So just please use caution. Maybe leave a little bit early if you got to come to the city for some sort of an appointment or something. Just know that you have been informed, and I appreciate our listeners for letting us know that. Coming up a little bit later on the show, last night's Kanawha County Board of Education meeting, some major bombshells dropped in that meeting, including some school consolidations. And we're not talking about just one or two. We're talking about the possibility of major consolidations if the plan goes through. Dr. Tom Williams, Superintendent of Kanawha County Schools, will join us to talk about that a little bit later on. Plus, Stephen Allen Adams from Ogden Newspapers will be stopping by as well. So let's get to our first guest. Mark Carter's here. Mark Carter. I'm having trouble talking this morning for some reason. Mark Carter's here. He's a candidate for House of Delegates. Mark, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning to you, Dave. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being here. Maybe you can do a little bit better than I am this morning. I seem to be jumping all over the place.
Ladies and gentlemen, you don't know how many papers this man is shuffling. It's an amazing display of skill.
Well, I don't know if it's skill. I don't know. It's over-preparedness or something. Well, I don't know what it is. So you're running for House of Delegates. Explain the district again, what areas it covers.
Sure. The district I'm running in is the 57th district. It's composed of Fort Hill, the residential community west of US 119, South Charleston, and Dunbar, the larger parts of both of those cities. It's an urban district, and it has been represented by Delegate Doug Scaff. He withdrew last year. Mm-hmm. He was replaced by the governor. So neither of the two candidates have been elected to the office. And I have thrown my hat in. I've been encouraged to get involved in this race. I'm delighted I have been. If nothing else, it's been wonderful to meet the people of the district. And I'm going to continue to visit with folks in the district and learn what the issues are and address those issues when I'm in office.
Now, you're pretty well known, Mark, around the area, but for those that don't know, you give us the bio on Mark Carter.
Well, I'm a lawyer. Please don't blame me. I'm a lawyer, and I've been.
They're not all bad.
I've been a lawyer in West Virginia for 38 years in Charleston, And I have just fell in love with the state. I've had the opportunity. I'm a West Virginian by choice, but my family's from here, so I have West Virginia blood in me. And I have married here. I've raised a family here. My son is now working at NASA in Fairmont as a software engineer, protecting our astronauts and our spacecraft. And I have, but I've also been involved in public service, and I've loved it. I was appointed by President Bush in 2002, served for 7 years on the Federal Service Impasses panel. I was then appointed to chairman of that panel by President Trump. And the panel, I was selected to be an objective, fair arbitrator of labor issues impacting the federal government. It's my career. I've loved it. I'm going to continue to practice law, but I want to focus on my neighbors. I want to focus on our state and improving the standard of living of West Virginians. That's my goal.
And I always ask people why they're running for office. I mean, and again, we're talking to Mark Carter, who's a candidate for House of Delegates. You've got this resume, these things that you've done in the past, and let's face it, you don't really need to do this, but it's a want-to thing for you, right? It's
very much a want-to thing. I think the trigger, and I explained it last time I was on, Dave, is I've driven up the same holler for the last 30-some years on my way to work, coming home from work. And on that trip, that short trip in this holler, I see people every morning walking out to the bus stop in various uniforms, fast food, different types of jobs. And they're walking there because they can't afford a car. I want them to be able to afford their own car.
Now, what is it that you could do to make them to be able to afford their own car?
There's a lot of things that our legislature can do to help people reach their potential economically. First and foremost, we need to recruit and encourage employers to either expand their business within the valley and the state or to come to our valley and state. The 57th District has a rich history of tremendous industrial production, and we need to resuscitate that, and it's not that hard. I've been doing this for 38 years. I've been working with employers to help them select locations to go to. I haven't been able to convince them to come to my state because of several laws. We've addressed several of them. We need to address more of them in order to give them the proper incentives to come in and let our folks reach their economic potential.
And we are seeing some people come into West Virginia and various other places. I mean, we talk about Nucor and we talk about, these various other projects. We are seeing people come in. But not only, Mark, how do we get people to come here, but how do we get our young people to want to stay here? I mean, you talked about your son who's working for NASA, but he's working in West Virginia.
Right.
So that's not the case with a lot of people and their kids. They're going off to Columbus, Charlotte, Pittsburgh, wherever that they may be going. How do we get more people to want to stay in West Virginia?
Well, people do want to stay in West Virginia, and I think that's clear. We have a wonderful state. We have a beautiful state. We have the kindest people in the United States of America. Folks, it's not a matter of getting folks to want to be here. It's giving them an opportunity to be here by providing them with an opportunity for employment that doesn't hurt them financially. We're competing against North Carolina. We're competing against Virginia in order to give our people the opportunity to work and earn what they could earn in these other states. My son did it. I don't want him to be the aberration. What can we do? Here's the first thing we need to do. In my district, we need to elect people who have done it before, who are in the majority party, who have the ear of the House leadership, the Senate leadership, and the governor's office in order to make real change. We all know that people who are rubbing against the majority generally don't get to accomplish the objectives that they wish to. I want to work hand in glove with my good friend Roger Hanshaw. I want to work hand in glove with the new governor and with the new Senate president. And I know these people and have worked with them in the past. By being able to do that, I'm going to be able to help my neighbors get better jobs, because we're going to bring in more employers.
Talking to Mark Carter again, who is a Republican candidate for House of Delegates District 57. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Live Healthy, West Virginia. Presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy, tackling pressing health issues, heart disease, diabetes, and more. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond West Virginia. It's a valuable resource for all. Check out the latest episodes on WVMetronews.com under the podcast menu and start your journey towards better health today. How's the campaign been so far, Mark?
The campaign's been great. I've gotten to meet a lot of different folks, both in my neighborhood and in my communities, as well as in the business community. You know, Dave, I just got back from the West Virginia Business Summit, and I've been active in the state chamber, the United States Chamber, for many years. One slide really just hit me right in the gut that was presented by Rex Repass doing the West Virginia poll, and that slide reported that voters' concerns this year, in this election, 41% of voters are concerned about the economy and about jobs, about inflation, and about having a job that's going to be able to pay for those raised prices and more. All right? Everything else combined was less than 41%. It's a one-issue election. Same time, I'm talking to business leaders about what do they need to persuade them to come to the state of West Virginia. And I've talked to them about this before, various leaders. Okay, we've made progress on taxes. We've made progress on our labor climate. What do we need now? Well, I'll tell you what they say. They say education needs to be addressed. We need to be able to turn out people from our school systems who are able to read, write, operate a computer, who are literate, right? It's not that big of a task. It's not that challenging, or shouldn't be. And that's going to be one of the focuses that I'm going to have when I get into office.
I think it's interesting what you said about the Rex Repass poll and what was revealed at the chamber event last week at the Business Summit down to Greenbrier. Because, Mark, we hear so many things on this show and other places about all of these hot button issues, the social issues, and so on and so forth. But and I'm not going to put you in a tough position here because I know you are concerned about those as well, but it's not what the public is really that interested in, as you said.
Oh, you're 100% right. What the public is interested in doesn't always jibe with what the hot media issues are. And we all know that clicks matter in the media industry. And if you hear things about librarians going to prison and such, that's going to get attention. And I'm not saying it shouldn't get attention if it merits it. But what I am saying is the most important issue facing our state today is the same one that it was 50 years ago and 100 years ago. We don't deserve to make less in the state of West Virginia than people from Ohio or Virginia. We deserve to make the same or more, and that's the appropriate goal. And there's a way to do it. Taxes, education, labor climate are the three primary legs of this three-legged stool for economic development. We made significant progress on two of them. We got one more to go, and I think we need to get it.
I had a text to the show before we let you go. Someone said about your plan for job creation. You mentioned that, and you mentioned, according to the texter, that your friends and you're on a good first name basis with a lot of the legislature. But the texter wanted to know about your actual plan. Where can they see a plan? Do you have an actual plan?
The actual plan for a House delegate, I'd like to see anybody. The actual plan is fairly simple. It's modeled after some research done by two or three of the think tanks in Washington that I've worked with when I was serving in President Trump's administration. And the primary basis for the plan is to have a tax system that doesn't gouge employees or businesses, to have a labor climate that doesn't incent labor disputes and strife, and to have an education system that produces average or above average students who are willing to stay and work in their state. Again, I think that we have people who want to stay home. I think that our graduates would prefer, in the best case, to remain in West Virginia. The issue is whether or not the jobs are there. We're making progress. We are hearing and seeing more and more employers coming here because they know it's a great place to establish a business. we have to create more of those opportunities for our citizens through more of those employers.
Do you have a website or social media where somebody can find out more about you?
Absolutely. The website is markcarterforwv.com. You can go to Facebook and see the posts regarding the campaign, what's going on, and what I'm actually saying. And for the texter, please go to the website, give me a call. I'm happy to talk to you. And I'm also happy to plant a yard sign in your lawn if you would like one. And that goes for all of your audience, Dave.
Give me 30 seconds. Why should somebody vote for you?
Because I am in a position where I will be able to work with House leadership. And let's face it, Roger Hanshaw encouraged me to do this because he thinks that I'm up to the job. And I have had nothing but encouragement from all of the friends I have within both the state Senate and the House of Delegates and the governor's office, frankly, who think that I can make a positive contribution for our state. I passed on a substantial position in Washington, D.C. that I would have received during the current administration, and I'm a Republican, because I wanted to stay home and help my folks, my people, my family, my friends in the state of West Virginia. I'm committed to doing it. Like I said the first time I was on here, I'm going to go after it. I'm going to get it.
Mark Carter, Republican for District 57 in the House. I appreciate you being here, bud. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Mark Carter, 923. Hang on one second here. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you by Brightway Insurance, the Mays Agency. They now offer small business insurance to the 4 major carriers: the Hartford, Travelers, Progressive, and Next. Call or stop by and see John and Sherry today. 3860 Tays Valley Road, Suite 1 in Hurricane, 304-814-2509, or visit brightwaymays.com. Kanawha County School Superintendent Dr. Tom Williams coming up a little bit later on. Plus, Stephen Allen Adams from Ogden Newspaper coming up next on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses have been creating jobs in West Virginia since 1997.
Red, white, and Vroom into summer savings at Thornhill CDJR on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Hey, it's Sydney, and it's time to make this the summer of Ram with up to $8,650 off MSRP on the new 2024 Ram 1500 Bighorn, or 5.9% APR for 72 months and no payments for 90 days. These deals are as powerful as the trucks themselves. Thornhill CDJR, where adventure begins. It's a Red, white, and Vroom made this summer of Ram sales event at the all-new Thornhill Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Visit us at Fountain Place Mall, Logan, next to Tractor Supply, or online at thornhillcdjr.com. Number 24C38 for all offers through Stellantis Financial. For all details.
Planning for retirement? Stike Wealth Enhancement Group is here to help. Whether you're preparing to retire, already retired, or seeking advice, our experts guide you every step of the way. Imagine leaving a legacy that supports your children or even the Children's Hospital. With careful planning, you can enjoy your retirement and make a lasting impact. At Stike Wealth Enhancement Group, we help you achieve your financial goals and create a legacy that matters. Start planning today. Visit StikeWEG.com. Secure your future. Leave a legacy.
Securities and advisory service offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Jarrett Construction is celebrating its 25th year in business, proudly serving the West Virginia community. They extend heartfelt thanks to their clients for their trust and support over the years. From schools and hospitals to car dealerships and apartments, Jarrett Construction has been dedicated to building quality projects that make a difference. Their commitment to excellence in the community remains unwavering. For all your construction needs, choose Jarrett Construction, where your vision becomes their mission. Visit jarrett-construction.com. Thank you for making their 25 years successful and impactful. Hey, it's Dave Allen for Parmar Stores. Our lives are all hectic. That goes without saying. It also goes without saying we're always looking for ways to make our lives just a little bit easier. That's where your local Parmar store comes in. From gas to groceries and snacks to a quick soda or that morning cup of coffee you need to keep you going, Parmar's got it. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
It's 9:25, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Pinnacle Consultants. Their services involve developing comprehensive management plans to outline strategies for controlling and minimizing asbestos exposure, perfect for commercial property owners and managers. Visit pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can hurt you. Bigley, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor, text 304-935-5008. Text says, Dave, I thought you said people are coming to West Virginia. Except for Putnam County, it seems the opposite for the rest of the southern counties. Text says the chamber is woke and recruited him. That's concerning. Talking about Mark Carter. Text says, this is a brilliant plan, bring in more jobs. Basically self-executing, says texter. Stephen Allen Adams is with us right now, Ogden newspaper. Stephen, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Let me defend you for a moment, Dave, on that thing in regards to population. The problem with the population charts is that's factoring in people that die, and it's factoring in obviously people that move or whatnot. The one thing that it's not really that you can't see is the inward migration numbers. And the dirty secret is the inward migration numbers of the state of West Virginia have been up. Now, not by a lot, but they are actually up. People are moving here. The problem is people are dying faster than what they're moving here.
So people just shouldn't die.
That's exactly right. We should
listen, Grandma, hang on.
Yeah, let's bring immortality back. I think we can do that.
And by the way, Stephen Stephen said he was defending me. He had no idea that text was even there. We didn't talk about it during the break. I appreciate it, man. But that's a very good point, though. I mean, and one of the things, and you're somebody that has had an opportunity to work in other markets, but you're a West Virginia guy, and you chose
Pleasant County,
chose to be here. I'm a West Virginia guy who chose to be here. Mm-hmm. The problem is that we got to get more of us to want to remain here. I mean, we want, as you said, outward migration. We want people coming in, but we got to get more people, especially not old guys like us, but especially we need to have, these 23, 24, 25-year-olds that are maybe just getting out of college, or even if they don't go to college, just whatever that their post-high school training is. Mm-hmm. We got to get them to want to stay here.
One of the I think West Virginia Public Broadcasting a few years ago did a thing called the struggle to stay, and I never liked that terminology. And I get some people leave the state for, say, politics, for example. The state has gotten more red. I get that, though. Almost everyone that tells me that they're leaving because of the state's politics tell me they're going to a state that's more red than we are, like Ohio or Florida. So, that negates that. But I almost moved out of here probably 2013. I was up for a job in D.C., ultimately didn't get it, so I stayed, and I'm glad that I did stay. My wife is from Wyoming County. I'm from Pleasant County. We've made it work. And you're right. We need people, especially young adults, middle-aged adults, to make it a point to stay here and create what we would like to see and build that now. That way more people will not only stay, but also come here.
Talking to Stephen Allen Adams, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by General Hardware of Winfield and Milton and General Lumber of Winfield. For all projects, big and small, shop locally. Visit GeneralHardwareWV.com. Stephen, I was listening to Rex Repass on Hoppy yesterday, and I was shocked. Shocked, I say, that people aren't paying attention to the news. Case in point, the info that came out as part of the West Virginia poll, and Brad has a story posted about it at WVMetroNews.com. You probably wrote about it as well. The majority of people polled said they have heard, quote, little or nothing at all about the financial issues surrounding Governor and Republican nominee for U.S. Senate Jim Justice. They say they've heard little or nothing at all about it.
Well, I'm personally not surprised, and I don't know if you're being sarcastic there, but I'm not
being very sarcastic.
Okay, good. You're like, as they say in Tommy Boy, I could detect it because you're laying it on thick. I can tell you, I could write about a story. Just pick a story. I could write about that several times, say 5 or 6 times over a span of a couple months. I will still get the inevitable email from a reader that's mad because nobody's covering this issue. And why aren't you covering this issue? And I send that person back all 5 or 6 links. I'm like, what are you talking about? I have been writing about this issue nonstop. And same thing for this. Unfortunately, you got a lot of voters out there. I've never liked the term like low info. It makes them sound stupid. They're not stupid, but they're just not paying attention till closer to, say, early voting or even election day itself. So they're not really reading the front page of the paper. They're going for the inside for the local page, or they're going to the sports page, or unfortunately we seem to be more interested in national news more than anything else, to focus a lot on that. They're not reading a lot of this news, particularly about Jim Justice and his financials. And none of this is new news. This came up in 16, it came up in 20, and it's coming up now. I will hear from people, I guarantee it, they're like, why didn't you write about this issue? I'm like, are you kidding? Like, all I've done is write about this issue. People just aren't paying attention, and they probably won't till closer to an election.
But what about those people that are paying attention that simply don't care, Stephen. I had someone the other day who is a big Jim Justice supporter tell me that the only one that cares about these issues, this was his words, are the media. No one else seems to care about this. I mean, look at Jim Justice's popularity. I mean, polls come out, he's going. With all due respect to Wheeling Mayor Glenn Elliott, Jim Justice is going to win and win big come November, and he's going to be the next U.S. Senator. Now, how long he'll be there seems to be quite a bit of debate, and we'll debate that when the time comes. But is it the fact that they know about it and just simply don't care?
Well, I'll give you an example. I was at the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce Business Summit all 3 days last week. I didn't stay at the Greenbrier. I stayed at a Super 8, but I was there physically. I'm a newspaper reporter. I make good money, but it's not that good.
If you're if media people are saying at the Greenbrier, you guys are sharing like 8 to a room, probably.
Oh, yeah, like bunk beds, for sure. Yeah, it's one of those situations where I've talked to a few people there, and the sense I get is I think people are tired of the things that they do keep seeing about Jim Justice. I think they're kind of tired of the shtick. I think they're tired of these headlines. But with all that being said, I kept getting told that they're going to vote for him anyway. And most of them are going to vote for him anyway is they want to make sure that the Senate gets to at least 51-49, which I think they expect that with Republicans in the majority. They know Justice will be a dedicated vote for the Republican side of things. And also, many people don't really think he's going to be there all 6 years. Now, we've heard that for the first 2 terms of Governor Justice's term, that he wouldn't serve out either. But there is a real possibility that he could not serve out an entire 6-year term. So I think people are tired of this stuff, but they're going to vote for him anyway because they want that our name on that particular space.
Yeah, you're right. Senator Manchin, Stephen, is going to be on with Hoppy at the top of the show this morning. What's the future, if any, for Joe Manchin? I mean, he's not going to go away. I mean, but we all know that. What do you see in the future for Joe Manchin? Does it depend on? Let me ask you this: does it depend on who's elected come November?
I think it does depend on who is elected come November. I think if it's Justice, I think Manchin works with his daughter, Heather Bresch, to form that PAC that they're trying to do, that 501c4 that's going to be focused pretty much on moderates and independents and trying to get people to pay attention to that side of things and try to bring the fringes of the right and left back towards the center. I think if Kamala Harris is elected president in November, I think there's a real opportunity that Justice will angle for a position in her cabinet of some sort. I could actually see that. What that would be.
He's supposed to talk. Let me just interrupt you here on Hoppy's show in the show notes that we all share with each other. He's supposed to talk about the Harris Walls ticket. That's one of the things he's supposed to talk about with Hoppy today. It'd be interesting to get his take on that.
Yeah, no, I mean he came out. Obviously, we knew there was at least a brief moment where he toyed about getting back into the race as a Democrat, trying to throw his hat in the ring.
4 hours on that Sunday.
4 hours on that Sunday, absolutely. But he did very quickly coalesce around Kamala Harris, and he was very quick to throw his support behind Tim Walz when he got named as the vice presidential pick for Harris. So he seems to be all in on that, and that's probably a good thing for them because Manchin, as someone who is a moderate, can recruit more moderates, independents to vote for Harris. So there may be a future for him in that realm if she gets elected.
Text says, hey, Dave, the young people are leaving for 2 reasons: job opportunities and horrible politics from the supermajorities on both sides over the years.
I'll go back to what I said earlier. I know a lot of people who have told me they're leaving the state for politics. Okay, well, where are you going? Well, I'm going to Columbus, Ohio. You're going to a red state. Yes, you're going to a city that is blue in a red state, but you're going to a red state. I had someone else go, I'm going to Florida. You're going to another pretty red state. Now, you might be going to some big city like Orlando or Fort Lauderdale or something like that. But look, most of
what comes out of the capital is going to govern what goes on in your area.
Exactly, yeah. No, I mean, it's just one of those things where unless you're telling me you're going to California or New York, and good luck with that because those places are expensive, you're probably going to Tennessee or you're going to Texas. You're going to a different red state. It's not. You could say it's politics, but I think there's other factors at work.
Text says, Dave, the reason why folks don't care about Jim Justice except the media is because most don't listen to the media because they don't trust them. This includes local media. They don't trust us, Steve.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you if you don't trust us, because, I mean, I can understand to some extent some distrust in national media. I don't think local media has given anybody any reason to distrust them. We, again, are all people that live here, that know the areas, that know everything about the state, and pretty much everyone that you hear, whether it's Amelia, Brad, I could go down the list. Most of us are from here in some part of the state, and I just don't think local media, whether you're talking about newspapers, radio, TV, I don't think we've given anyone that reason to have that same level of distrust, but it could be.
Well, I mean, a lot of that, I think, too, Stephen, comes from the top, because a lot of these people have heard the term fake news. And look, like you said, on the national media, Fox News admitted in court that they're not a news organization, okay? And that's okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, Rush Limbaugh, who was one of my idols, because he basically saved AM radio, Rush never claimed to be a trusted news source. He gave opinions.
He said he was an entertainer.
He was an entertainer, and that's a big part of it. But I think, though, that as you said about local media and the texter, and I appreciate the texter, putting that out there, because sometimes we all need to be called to the carpet every now and then.
We need to be humbled sometimes.
But I will tell you, we all get along in the media game here in this area. But there's no union meeting. No. We all don't get together. We don't get talking points from, President Steve Adams, who sends us out to says, okay, today we're going to cover this. We're all going to talk about that. And I will say, you mentioned Amelia Nicely, who I think is a brilliant reporter. She got called out yesterday, and you probably know the exact tweet, and I don't have it in front of me, by somebody, and I thought it was just total crap. What you know what I'm referring to?
I do. Well, I don't obviously have it in front of me, and I will tell you, I've been privy to this information for some time. Basically, DHHR, or I think it was DOHS, communications person there, had written a letter to Amelia and her editors, I believe, that basically called her out, said she was unfair.
She was seeking, here's the quote, Amelia said, when I contacted the director of communications to try to smooth things over, I was told Amelia's reporting only seeks to harm and misinform West Virginia. That is the biggest load of crap I have ever heard in my entire life, and that person should be ashamed of themselves.
Absolutely. And this is all because of an editorial that the West Virginia Watch editor-in-chief Leanne Ray had put out yesterday, talking about issues with DOHS, which I have had too, particularly in recent weeks, over this child care subsidy issue, which I got to tell you, we're all at the point of zero trust, not necessarily with Governor Justice himself per se, but certainly with administration officials, and particularly communications officials in the administration. Between what has happened with Brad, I'm glad Brad got back on the briefing last week.
He's back.
He's back.
He'll be on the show tomorrow, by the way.
Mr. Vile.
Mr. Vile is back.
We're glad he's back.
Jeff, can you get me some music with the word vile in it for when Brad's on the show tomorrow? Work on that for me.
Yeah, it's we have all dealt with one issue after the next when it comes to covering this administration, particularly, and it's only really been in the last year. I had a better relationship with Jordan Dameron, who used to be communications director over there. I don't know why it's changed and where it's coming from, but the trust is almost zero, and we're all just kind of counting down till, January at this point.
Let me read a couple texts before we let you go. Text says, you're talking about young people who tend to care about their reproductive rights and climate change, both subjects where West Virginia policies are extreme right. Says that is a very good point, in my opinion. Text says, neither of the states that Stephen mentioned have total abortion bans. Says a texter. All right, what are you working on today? Got to let you go. What are you working on today?
Sure. Governor's got a briefing this afternoon, so we'll see what he has to say about a great many things. And I haven't decided if I'm signing on to ask a question yet or not, but that's sort of the big thing today. It's kind of a quiet week this week.
And people can read your stuff at?
Parkersburg News and Sentinel, Wheeling Intelligencer, Weirton Daily Times, the Intermountain and Elkins, and the Martinsburg Journal.
And follow him on X. It's a must follow on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. All right, yes. Steve. Appreciate you being here with Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Bridge Valley. If you're interested in improving your company's IT workforce, know that Bridge Valley offers custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap. But Bridge Valley train for little or no cost with a 50-50 salary match. They can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. Kanawha County School Superintendent Dr. Tom Williams coming up next on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric.
Injured physically or financially? When the bills pile up and the insurance company refuses to pay, you need an experienced team on your side. At Peyton Law Firm, you get knowledgeable, common sense advice and aggressive representation. We help you stand toe-to-toe with the largest insurance companies in the world. When you've been injured due to someone else's negligence, you don't have to accept it and move on. Peyton Law Firm will help you enforce your legal rights. Because your legal situation is serious to you, it's serious to us. For more information, go to PeytonLawFirm.com.
Thrive with 5 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 5%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by a Poca Valley Bank location today or call 844-782-2651. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Hello, I'm Teresa Howell, your Republican candidate for the House of Delegates to represent the Upper Kanawha Valley. We can work together to make a difference. I am your choice for faith, family, and freedom. I will work to defend our way of life and put West Virginia first. I have advocated for tax cuts, control government spending, and many other pro-growth policies. I appreciate your vote. Vote Teresa Howell for liberty, self-reliance, and prosperity. Vote Teresa Howell for a common-sense conservative. Vote Teresa Howell for America First.
Paid for by the committee to elect Teresa Howell.
500,000 happy customers by going to AudienHearing.com. That's AUDIEN Hearing.com.
Red, white, and vroom into summer savings at Thornhill CDJR on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Hey, it's Sydney, and it's time to make this the summer of Ram with up to $8,650 off MSRP on the new 2024 Ram 1500 Bighorn, or 5.9% APR for 72 months and no payments for 90 days. These deals are as powerful as the trucks themselves. Thornhill CDJR, where adventure begins. It's a Red, white, and vroom made this the summer of Ram sales event at the all-new Thornhill Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Visit us at Fountain Place Mall, Logan, next to Tractor Supply, or online at thornhillcdjr.com. Number 24C38 for all offers through Stellantis Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Birds continue their 3-game road series tonight at Hagerstown. Their final regular season home series starting Friday night at Gomar Ballpark. For tickets, schedules, merchandise, and more, visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. Kanawha County School Superintendent Dr. Tom Williams is here. Dr. Williams, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know, Doctor, no one likes to hear the words consolidations or closures, but the Kanawha County Board meeting last night, Aaron Parker's got a story posted about it at WVMetroNews.com. As the story pointed out, the conversations have started. Let me recap and then we'll get your comments. We could be looking at 2 middle school consolidations and the merging of 4 elementary schools in Kanawha County, Eastern Kanawha, into one larger new school. And as for the middle schools, we're talking about East Bank and DuPont middle schools possibly consolidating, as well as the middle schools of McKinley and Hayes in St. Albans. And then back to the elementary schools, the possibility of a consolidation of Mary Ingalls, Malden, Midland Trail, and Bell into one large school. That's a lot of schools, Dr. Williams.
It is, and again, this is something that no one, the board and myself included, ever want to talk about. But you know, when we've lost close to 5,000 students in the last 10 years and we continue to lose students, we can no longer continue to operate the same number of facilities. We would be able to move East Bank into DuPont with no cost to the county, and the same with McKinley into Hayes. For the elementary section, I will present a project to the School Building Authority, the SBA, and if they approved the project, then we would be able to build a new school, which wouldn't open until sometime in 28 in that area, probably the fall of 28. But I think it would be a great opportunity to have the elementary students in the East End begin, because they all will feed into Riverside, so they begin to make lifelong friends and things of that nature. The 2 middle school consolidations, you know, those could happen next year. And again, it's not something that we like doing, but when I look at the bottom line, we have to have a balanced budget. And, you know, people say, well, money's more important than kids. No, actually it's not, but we have to have money in order to run the programming and things that we have for all of our students. So I do have to look at the bottom line.
And Dr. Williams, it is important to note that these are only discussions at this point. You talked about the number of students that we have lost, and sometimes we talk, and I actually with my other guest, Stephen Adams of Ogden Newspapers, we were talking about population loss. It's not always about just population loss. I mean, you know, public schools are losing numbers, and not everybody's moving out of state. There are other ways to educate kids now. People are looking at charter schools, or they're looking at homeschooling. There's a lot of factors at play here, sir.
There are, and one thing that's interesting, sad for our county is that our birth rate and death rate are almost inverted now. In other words, we're almost to the point where we have more people dying than babies being born. So, you know, that's not good either. That for the future, that doesn't make things look good for the future either.
Yeah, again, we're talking with Dr. Tom Williams, Superintendent of Kanawha County Schools, and this was all brought out at the meeting that was held last night. There are going to be public hearings planned to discuss this. Is that right?
That's correct. The board we will have hearings beginning in October, and we encourage folks, anyone that's interested actually, but especially those in the schools that will be affected, to attend those public hearings and give the board and myself their ideas and thoughts, and then the board will make a decision, and then we'll go from there.
And you've been doing this for a while, Dr. Williams. These conversations are never, ever easy. And I'm sure that most people are reasonable people. They understand why these things are being looked at. But when you talk about schools are the heartbeat of local communities, especially in smaller communities like Eastern Kanawha County and the ones that you mentioned. This is where these schools, that's where everything happens. That's where the Boy Scouts meet. That's where the water meetings are held. That's the kind of the gathering place. And it's sad, but it is a sad reality, sir.
You're exactly right. And everyone likes their small school, but the way we're funded based on a per pupil basis. We've lost approximately 5,000 kids the last 10 years. That's 500 faculty positions and about $29-30 million. And so, we can't continue to operate. I love the small schools. I think they're wonderful, but we're just not able to continue to operate like that any longer.
Dr. Tom Williams, I know you're a busy guy. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here this morning. What message, as we close, would you want to say to the parents and grandparents or the faculty? What message do you want to put out there this morning, sir?
I think the message would be, I'm sorry that we have to go down this road. We understand your emotions and your feelings. One of the schools that's been consolidated, my wife and 2 kids went to. And so I'm hearing it at home as well. But, it's all I can say is we're sorry we have to go down this road, but it's something that we have to do.
Well, these are discussions, as you said, at this point, but it certainly looks like it is going to be a reality, and there are public hearings planned. I urge people to go check out Aaron Parker's story posted this morning at WVMetroNews.com. Dr. Williams, you're always welcome on the show. We'll have you on again maybe as we get closer to the time for those public hearings. I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's Dr. Tom Williams, Superintendent of Public Schools here in Kanawha County. Yeah, I come from an area that school consolidation was a major, major deal back in the 1970s and 80s when I was in school, and it's nobody likes to see that community school go away. And it's just, we could do an entire week's worth of shows on population loss. And again, it's kind of interesting that I had Dr. Stephen, I've called Dr. Stephen Adams twice doctor. He's not a doctor. Good dude, but he's not a doctor. Stephen Adams on, I had Stephen scheduled a couple days ago, and then this news broke from the meeting last night. And I want to give a big shout out to Brianna Warner over at the superintendent's in the office, because I was able to get with her earlier this morning to get Dr. Williams scheduled. It is interesting, though, that we had those two back to back, and a lot of the same things came out in both of our talks, both of our interviews. Is that it's not just about population loss. It's about people are dying at a faster rate than babies are being born in West Virginia. And again, as I said, this is not just, and Dr. Williams agreed with me, this is not just about population loss in West Virginia. We've lost a lot. Yeah, absolutely. But parents now have more choices when it comes to their kids' education. And more people, it seems, and this is not exclusive to Kanawha County, this goes on in other areas as well. More and more people, more and more parents and grandparents are choosing to look at alternate ways of education for their kids. I mean, it is what it is, whether it's charter schools, whether it's private schools, whether it's homeschool. COVID added to that. So it's an unfortunate situation. It really is. I would urge you, though, that if you're one of the people that is concerned about this, that you attend these public meetings. I don't know what good it's going to do, but at least you can have your voice heard. And again, we'll be talking about it, as Dr. Williams said, they'll be in October. Go check out Aaron's story at wvmetronews.com. He's got a lot of information in it there as well. Attend the public meetings. Let people know what you think. And at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. If you're injured, visit forthepeople.com. Rest of the show is yours. I got several texts to get to. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you a physical therapy assistant and looking for an opportunity in orthopedics, wellness, and athletic care? If so, Generations Physical Therapy is offering flexible work hours and an upbeat atmosphere. With 7 convenient locations, Generations may have a job designed for you. Visit generationspt.com.
Welcome to Poca Valley, where we've been in business since 1908. Today, we serve Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties. We believe you deserve banking that provides friendly customer service. For all of your financial needs, stop by one of our 8 convenient locations. Call us at 844-782-2651 or visit us online at PocaValleyBank.com. Poca Valley, where relationships matter.
Member FDIC.
Hey, it's Dave Allen for Parmar Stores. Our lives are all hectic. That goes without saying. It also goes without saying we're always looking for ways to make our lives just a little bit easier. That's where your local Parmar store comes in. From gas to groceries and snacks to a quick soda or that morning cup of coffee you need to keep you going, Parmar's got it. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Red, white, and Vroom into summer savings at Thornhill CDJR on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Hey, it's Sydney, and it's time to make this the summer of Ram with up to $8,650 off MSRP on the new 2024 Ram 1500 Bighorn, or 5.9% APR for 72 months and no payments for 90 days. These deals are as powerful as the trucks themselves. Thornhill CDJR, where adventure begins. It's a Red, white, and Vroom made this the summer of Ram sales event at the all-new Thornhill Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Visit us at Fountain Place Mall, Logan, next to Tractor Supply, or online at thornhillcdjr.com. Number 20% with 38 for all of our through Stellings Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
Hollywood Jeff Petty is our producer today, rocking the Jeff Gordon hat. I told him he's no longer allowed to produce my show if he wears the Jeff Gordon hat. Sorry, dude, you're out. You know, not happening, man. Don't get on a microphone. Don't try to defend your actions wearing a Jeff Gordon hat in public.
Hey, I will proudly wear this Jeff Gordon hat anywhere, and I did at Richmond Raceway a few weeks ago. So,
were you beat up because of it?
No. Listen. You don't go. You don't go third all time on the wins list in the NASCAR Cup Series for nothing. So, 93 wins.
All right, you're done, Jeff. Go back and push a button or something. The impact of Special Olympics extends far beyond the athletes themselves. Volunteers and supporters touched by the unwavering determination of these extraordinary individuals find immeasurable fulfillment in their involvement. The inclusive approach embraced by Special Olympics fosters an environment where everyone plays a vital role. West Virginia Enriched, in collaboration with Huntington, invites you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. Text says, going back to the Mark Carter interview, your guest has no clue. My children left this state. Two of them jobs were not the problem. The future they saw that their children have was. The social and educational policies pursued by the current legislature did not appeal to them, and it doesn't to a lot of younger people. Just another of the same type of people we have now, according to a texter. Text says, Dave, the reason why folks don't care about Jim Justice, except actually I read that earlier. This was another text from the same person. I apologize. It says, Dave, your show is fair, but Hoppy's gone off the deep end with Jim Justice and Trump. I listen here from Florida, and it's striking about Hoppy. That's a texter. Speaking of Mr. Kercheval, he's coming up with Talkline at 10:06 from the Encova Insurance Studios in the Dale Miller Building to Morgantown. Senator Joe Manchin is leading off this morning. Also, Stephen Allen Adams, who's on this show a little bit earlier, he will be on an entirely different group of topics as he talks with Hoppy coming up next hour. There was a big and long city council meeting in Morgantown last night. I mentioned this a little bit on the show yesterday. There's been quite the debate in Morgantown about the homeless and specifically a proposed anti-camping ban. Well, that ban passed last night in Morgantown, and one of the members of the city council of Morgantown will join Hoppy to talk about that. That's the lead story this morning at WVMetroNews.com, and I point that out. The reason I have mentioned it so many times on this show is because there's a lot of mirrors between what goes on in some of our areas here, Charleston and other cities as well. But again, Hoppy's going to get into that. Rex Repass has been on Hoppy a lot here lately with results of the Metro News West Virginia poll, and he's got some new polling numbers out. He'll go over those with Hoppy. Also, Ryan Schmelz of Fox News Radio is on the show today. And check this out. The Mountaineers soccer team is now the top-ranked team in the entire nation. First time that's ever happened. WVU soccer coach Dan Stratford will be on the show, and more Hoppy coming up with Talkline at 10:06 this morning. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. Texas Dave, the West Virginia Echo Chamber doesn't listen to young people and does nothing to attract them. GOP had a supermajority in the governor's office for 8 years and have done nothing except cut taxes, which has not attracted all those Fortune 500 companies they claimed they would. No one wants to move here. Just look at Kanawha County schools losing 5,000 to 10,000 students. Families need better education, and charter schools and homeschooling are not the answer, says the texter. Going back to the school consolidation with Weimer beside McKinley, why not keep that one, says a texter. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Jute. For the best in security systems for both your home or business, talk to Jute of Tays Valley. Visit protectedbyjute.com. So I will mention this. I had talked about this a little bit yesterday. I did take a little bit of time off last week, a week and a day, actually, because of the Labor Day holiday as well. I was actually back in town before then, though. I was spinning records, because that's what I will always call it, even though there's no records anywhere in sight on the mountain on our classic rock station on Sunday. But I will say this. I know you wanted to see my vacation slides. There are none. I will say this. My wife and I took a trip down to North Myrtle Beach. And if you're a longtime listener of the show, you know the story. I felt I should turn in my Southern West Virginia card because up until 2022, I said I had never been to Myrtle Beach. And this time it was North Myrtle, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really, really liked it. I don't come from a family of vacationers. We went on a few as a kid, but one story I always tell about my dad, and I may have told this on the story before, my dad didn't even attend my high school graduation. He was a purchasing agent at a coal company, and on the day of my high school graduation, that he was going to leave the mines for my graduation. So he skipped it. I looked up in the stands. No, Dad. Talked to him later tonight. See what happened, Dad? Because I left graduation and went directly to work on the air in radio. He said, "Sorry, son, had a part down at the mine." So, well, there you go. So I come by it honestly, I guess, not liking to take off very much. The Dave Allen Show is brought to you in part by Hudson's Pizza. This month at your favorite Hudson's, get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and an 8-inch chocolate chip cookie, only $23.99. Hollywood Jeff Petty, he of the Jeff Gordon hat, my producer today. Thank you to Mark Carter for being here, Stephen Allen Adams, and Dr. Tom Williams from Kanawha County Schools. I'll be coming up with Talkline at 10:06. Download the Metro News TV app and the WVRC Media app as well. See you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM 96.5 FM Charleston and 104.5 Cross Lanes.
A WVRC media station.
We're proud to live here too.